Alright, diesel engine, mechanical service, diesel electric locomotive. These instructions do not purport to cover all, This should not purport to cover all the details and variation of equipment, nor to provide every possible contingency to be met with the connection of the M installation operating maintenance should further information be desired. Should particular problems arise, which are covered sufficiently for the purpose and purpose matter, that they should be referred to the General Electric Company. Transportation System Division, General Electric, Erie, Pennsylvania 16501. Alright, introduction. This manual is intended for the day with the maintainer or the getting of the acquainted with the locomotive general and with the various aspects of the locomotive related to performing running maintenance. The running maintenance constitutes such work with the technical service with minor repair, adjusting adjustments, interchanging small components, any other work operation which will restore the locomotive to service within an 8-hour period. This manual includes service information pertaining to the major equipment and system with equipped with the production model locomotive. Their instructions for specific customer modifications will not be included herein, but it will be covered in the basic shop manual, which includes all instruction dealing with heavy and running maintenance work. Many subjects within the instruction are arranged consecutively under separate section numbers. Example, section 4, lubricating oil system. Illustration, identify the figure numbers and which each of the sections show the section number, figure number. Example, figure 4.1. Alright, contents. Section 1, locomotive data, major equipment, system capacity, brake system adjustments, operating settings, engine setup systems, pressure settings, and weights. Section 2, locomotive description, general, power plant, diesel engine, governor, overspeed protection, cooling system, engine temperature control, fuel system, lubricating system, engine starting, electric transmission, traction generator, traction motors, controller, exciter, braking, charging generator, storage battery, wheel slip correction, ground relay protection, operating control, locomotive brakes, air brakes, compressor, reservoirs, brake equipment, handbrake, running gear, wheels, axle, journal bearings, center bearings, side bearings, safety hooks, superstructures, front hood, operating cab, walkways, engine hood, radiator compartment, engine compartments, ventilation, underframe, wear plates, couplers, pilots, inside steps, lifting and jacking, fuel tanks. Section 3, components, location terms, engine specifications, engine description, mainframe, crankshaft, bearings, vibration dampers, camshaft, connection rod assembly, piston cylinder, cylinder reliance, fuel injection pump, fuel nozzle, the engine control, governor, the turbocharger, intercoolers, manifolds, air system, cooling system, fuel system, lubricating oil filters, safety devices, cranking, lubrication, section 4, lubricating oil system, description, oil flow outside the engine, oil flow inside the engine, lubricating oil pressure, lubricating oil service, filling, draining, changing oil, relief regulating valve, pump relief valve, pressure regulating valve, lube oil filters, lube oil strainer housing, removal of housing, installation, lube oil system data. Section 5, fuel oil system, description, fuel tank electrical, emergency fuel cutoff, fuel servicing, fuel oil specification, filling and draining, fuel oil strainer filters, description, element, changing, cleaning and changing, booster pump and motor, description, inspection, maintenance, pump and motor, engine drain system priming, relief valve, the description, adjusting, regulating valve, description and adjustment, fuel injection equipment, pump removal, installation, pumping timing, adjustment, fuel nozzle function, description, removal, installation, storage, storing spare nozzles, data, tank capacity, fuel pump, booster pump, valve settings, injection pump, torque values. Section 6, cooling water system, description, component system, operating the cooling water temperature, filling, draining, fuel flow control valves with the case, combined operation, inspection, repair, safety devices, engine, high temperature switch, low water pressure, shutdown, radiators, data, tank capacity, valve settings, torque values. Section 7, air system. Description, equipment of the air system, maintenance of the engine air system, maintenance engine air cleaner, assembly damper, the supplemental bleed, aspirator, flexible piping, air pipe elbows, intercoolers, intake manifolds, exhaust manifolds, installations. Section replacements, data, oil bath filter, air cleaner, intercooler, exhaust, manifold, torque values. Section 8, overspeed system, description and operation, overspeed governor, description and operation, trip indicator, reset adjustment, trip adjustment procedure, data, system governor. Section 9, engine control governor, description, auxiliary function, inspection, maintenance, solenoid sequence table, the solenoid sequence test, checking, governing wiring, governing oil, governing adjustment, compensating adjustment, matching engine pump racks to the governor, engine speed settings, and adjusting engine speed with the load control, adjustment fuel, starting fuel, limiting devices, changing governor's engine with removing the governor from the engine, governor installation, fuel rack linkage, description, maintenance, data, speed, schedule, governor, piston gap, then fuel pump control rack settings, load control settings, engine oil pressure failure, shutdown, engine water pressure failure, shutdown, section 10, light maintenance features, gauges, measuring devices, brake rigging, adjustment, and brake shoe renewal. Alright, major equipment. System capacity, brake system, operating settings, engine pressure settings, weight, approximate lifting on purposes only. Alright, locomotive description. General. The General Electric Railroad diesel electric locomotive is especially designed and built to meet the requirements of modern high-speed traffic. The design procedures provide for the high horsepower per axle with minimum equipment with the weight with available modification. Locomotive can be used for the passenger service. Power plant. Diesel engine. Locomotive is powered by a 16-cylinder, 4-stroke cycle with a turbocharged diesel engine, 9-inch to 10.5-inch cylinders with a 45-degree V arrangement engine that has an integral head and cylinder arrangement which can be reviewed with the minimum removed with the minimum of the time, and equipped with the cat arm pistons, valve seat, iron served with the Bendex fuel system. The cylinder liner is plated with the porous chrome to give it a longer life. The governor, the Woodward PG engine and governor of the saddle containing electro-hydraulic type automatically regulates the higher horsepower outputs at each throttle setting. Overspeed protection engine automatically shuts down if the speed exceeds maximum rated RPM by 10%. Cooling system, a gear-driven central figure pump, integral with the diesel engine circulates with the cooling water through the engine with the turbocharger air intakers and the self-drain radiator, lubricating oil cooler, or a compressor cab heater with expansion tank equipped with the side gas gauges to indicate water level of the system. Pressurized abnormal low water pressures are automatically shut down with the engine. Engine temperature control. The flow control valve with the thermostatically operated with automatically maintains temperature, regulating flow with the cooling water through the radiator section. Fuel system, a modern-driven pump with the transfer of the fuel from the tank through the strainer filter for the injection pump. Each cylinder is equipped with a high-pressure fuel injection pump and injector for lubricating lubricating system and fuel pressure system that's supplied with the gear type of the pump integral with the diesel engine. Lubricating oil reservoir is located with the engine sub-bay for the lubricating oil filters, strainers, water cooler, oil coolers. Water-cooled oil coolers are provided with abnormal low lubricating oil pressure automatically shut down the engine. Engine starting. The diesel engine is cranked by two 32-volt DC motors with storage battery, power electric transmission, traction generator on one of the General Electric GTA-9 traction generators that are mounted directly on the engine with the alternating current single anti-friction bearing separately excited by the main machine. The output is rectified with a full-wave rectifier. Traction motors, GE G752. The traction motors are furnished with a traction motor direct current series with one with the separately ventilated clean air system. The armature is mounted with the anti-friction bearings. Motor drive through the single reduction spur gear with the gearing. They are supported with the axles, which are geared with the resilient noise suspension on the truck transom. Control. Locomotive is equipped with the General Electric railway type single end of the signal unit control and basic with equipment. The control devices are equipped with a pressurized steel compartment fitted with the access door. The reversers lined with the contactor electro-pneumatically operated. Other contactors are magnetically operated. The circuit with the breaker of the type of the switch is used with the control circuit where the overcurrent protection is required. The transition is automatic. Exciter. The one General Electric type GY27 exciter is provided with a gear driven with a traction generator that provides controlled excitation with the traction generator field. Your battery charging generator. On one Generator Electric type G27 battery charging generator is provided if it's gear driven with the traction gear with the furnished with the power with the regulated potentially with the battery charge, lighting, and control. Storage battery. A 32 cell lead acid storage battery is furnished for starting the engine and furnishing the power with the lights for the auxiliary. When the engine is shut down, wheel slip in the correction. Wheel slip is automatically detected comparison output signal. Alternator mounted on each of the axle with a slip corrected with the automatic application sand and the reduction power with the ground relay protection. If the ground occurs with the engine speed with the return to idle, the power is removed. The alarm bell rings and visually indicated to be given to the operator. Operator controls control instruments operating with the locomotive with a group of the operator station auxiliary panels and the operator's cab. The operator controls control with the throttle reverser selector level, the engine start push buttons, engine stop push buttons, brake valve, the side valve and bell ringer valve, with the air horn valve, the manual wiper, the circuit breakers and switches, emergency multiple engine stop buttons, emergency fuel trip, ground relay reset push button, Instruments, air brake gauge, load meter with warning indicators, low engine water pressure with the alarm bell, warning light, low engine lubricating oil pressure alarm bell, and warning light, high engine water temperature alarm bell, and warning lights, wheel slip at the buzzer and warning light, ground relay, red indicator, engine shutdown alarm bell, with no battery charge alarm bell, and warning light, crankcase overpressure switch alarm bell, and warning light. Same accessory modifications may be provided with the suit the customers need. Locomotive brakes, air brakes scheduled in 26L with the F control valve or valve air equipment is furnished with the locomotive brakes may be operated within independent within the train brakes connection with the furnishing compressed air with the train brakes as provided with each for the end of the locomotive the compressor. One of the 3-cylinder 2-stage water cooled engine driven compressor furnished with the air for the locomotive with the train brake system. The compressed air displacement of the idle engine is 125 cubic feet a minute and fuel engine speed 285 cubic feet a minute. Reservoir capacity is 56,000 cubic inches with the furnished with the storing of the air with the brake system. The brake equipment, the brake cylinders are mounted with a truck frame to operate with the fully equalized brake rigging, which apply with the 2 brake shoes each for the wheel. Brake rigging furnished with the hardened steel bushings and adjustment with the provided with the compensator with the wheel and shoe wear. The hardware handbrake. Wheel operated handbrake located outside with the short hood with the provided with the holding locomotive with the standstill with the running gear. The running gear of the locomotive consists of the 4-wheel 2-axle side equalized swing motion swivel trucks or 2 or 3-axle lateral motion single center plate swivel trucks, 1 of 4-wheel frame bolster swinging spring plank or cast with the frame with the support with the 2 equalizers on each side with the coil spring between the equalizer and the frame. The elliptic spring are applied between the bolster and the spring plank. The spring plank is in support with the 4 steel swinging links pinned to the truck frame. 1 6-wheel truck with the frame with the cast steel for the center lobe with the distributed with the cast steel for the floating with the oyster with the 4 rubber mounted with the rest of the truck of the frame provided with the control of lateral motion. The truck frame is supported with the alloy steel coil springs over the journal box friction type with its numbers damp for the vertical oscillation. Wheels solid multiple wear rim treated rolled steel of the 40-inch diameter. The wheels have the standard AAR tread with the flange counter axle. Axles are forged open-hearted steel conforming to the AAR material specification journal box. Journals are equipped with the sealed grease lubricated with the rolling bearings, the pedestal opening, the truck frame in line with the renewal with the seal and the wear-resistant plates. Center plating. The large center platings are equipped with the hardening of the steel liner with the range with lubrication protected by the dust guards. Side bearings. The side bearings renewal with the wear-resistant steel of the plates are provided with safety hooks. The body and truck safety hooks are provided with to prevent the slowing in the case of the derailment must provide permanent with the truck for the lifted with the superstructure and locomotive description. Superstructure the welded steel superstructure consists of the short front hood with the operating cab with the engine hood radiator. The compartment of the engine hood is bolted under the frame with the removable front hood. The front short hood contained with the top surface standing box for the door in the front of the bulkhead operating cab that provides the access to the inside of the hood operating cab. Sides and the roof of the operating cab are insulated with a steel line with the floor raised above the upper underframe, insulated covered by the laminated hardboard. The cab is safety glass window for the front and the rear, each side with providing visible within all directions. 2 plating for the center window for each side of the cab having siding of the sash equipped with latches. All other windows are fixed. Doors in diagonally opposite corner for the operating cab that provide access to the walls, walkways along the hoods of the door has been windows, weather stripping of the provision with the locking walkways. Platform walkways and handrails non-skid with the tread with the provided at each end with the locomotive and along the hoods. Engine hood. The engine hood is enclosed with a diesel engine with a traction generator with an equipment blower. The full height of the side of the access doors extend the length of the engine generator with the both side of the hood of the doors and the roof that provides the engine cylinder detachable roof section permit the removal of the equipment. Your radiator compartment. The radiator compartment contains the radiator fan, gearbox, air compressor, and engine air cleaners. The radiators from roof mounted with the reinforced screen with the over the outlet opening with the removal of the permit with the removal of the radiator for the van and gearbox. The dynamic braking grips when provided with the mounted along with each side of the radiator compartment. The end of the section hole of the sandbox surface of the roof of the rear headlights, classification light, the number of the boxes are mounted with the section. Equipment compartment. The main propulsion controlling equipment is located with the left side with the locomotive beneath the operating cab of the compartment and maintained under the positive air pressure to keep the oil out of the dirt and water contained with the contactor, reverser, braking, switching resistors, auxiliary electrical devices. All air brakes are air operated equipment, battery trays, and air filter assemblies for the engine are located in the easily accessible compartments alongside of the locomotive. Ventilation. Mechanically filtered air is provided through the self-cleaning air cleaners located with the underframe. The clean air is delivered under pressure with equipment cooling with the pressurization cab ventilation. Engine air is cleaned by self-cleaning air cleaners with oil bath air filters. Alright, locomotive description continued. The underframe. The underframe is made by the rolled steel section plate with the hood caps of the equipment tank for the support of the mainframe members. The space between the members is enclosed within the plate of the top bottom to form an air duct for the distributor used to clean air throughout the locomotive. The wear plates remove the renewable wear-resistant hard steel plate applied with the center bearing and the side bearing pads and draft gearing housing couplers. AAR type EA top operated couplers with a rubber cushion draft gears provided with each of the end of the locomotive. Pilots and side steps. The pilot's footboards provided with each end of the locomotive side steps of the access of the platform. Lifting jacks. Forward jacking pads, a combination with the lugs of the capable slings, integral cast side bolster, fuel tanks. A heavy gauge welded steel fuel tank is bolted to the underframe between the trucks and filler connection with the fuel gauges are furnished on each side of the locomotive. The emergency fuel shutoffs to clean out with the plugs and water drains are provided. Alright, diesel engine description and specifications, component location term. The following terms will be used throughout the book within locating the various components of the engine. See Figure 3.1 with the designation explained with the following: free end of the end of the engine where the turbocharged intercoolers are mounted, the generator end of the end of the engine where the generators are mounted, right and left side of the right and left side of the engine determined with the viewing of the engine from while facing the generator end. The cylinder location cylinders are numbered from the free end of to the generator end, and the number 1 right and number 1 left cylinders are nearest the turbocharger. Number 8 right and number 8 left cylinders are nearest to the generator. The crankshaft rotation during the engine operation, but the crankshaft rotates clockwise when viewed from the free end of the counterclockwise view from the generator end. Engine specification: the S7 FTL 16, number 16, cylinder 16, stroke cylinder 4, cylinder arrangement 45-degree V, bore 9 inches, stroke 10.5, compression ratio 12.7 to 1, idle speed 400 RPMs, maximum governing speed 1,2525 RPMs. Firing order: 1 hour, 1 right, 1 left, 3 hour, 3 right, 3 left, 7 right, 7 left, 4 right, 4 left, 8 right, 8 left, 6 right, 6 left, 2 right, 2 left, 5 right, 5 left. Turbocharger single engine dimensions: height over each end of the slack 8 foot 10 3/4 inch length. Overall indicator generator 21 foot 8 foot 7 1/16 of an inch with the overall 5 foot 8 1/4 inch and weight, and including the generator 57,000 pounds. Free end intercooler, left bank cylinders, right bank cylinders, overspeed governor or engine control governor, and the turbocharger to the right of the intercooler. That's your traction generator end, section 3.1, schematic overhead of the view of the engine. Engine description: General Electric has developed the FD1116 engine with a diesel engine railroad locomotive design, rating for the base of the extensive laboratory test backed up with 1,000 hours of field experience. The cross-section view of the engine shown in Figure 3.2 with the external view of the engine shown in Figure 3.3 and 3.4. The following brief description merely highlights the principal feature of the engine components more lethally described in each section of the book. The mainframe. The engine mainframe is a single piece of the casting, special ductile cast iron reinforced ribs and gussets with a further strength of the rigidity of the added of the frame of the bolting the main bearing caps horizontally as well as vertically. Format surfaces that are used for the mounting of the mainframe with the locomotive platform. Corrosion problems created with the coolant common with the other type of the engines are commonly eliminated with the cooling. Water does not contact any part of the frame of the crankcase, and inspection covers the lightweight with a quick action single handling and release. The crankshaft. Crankshaft is forged in the high quality steel with a hardening of long life with the general surface of the precision ground with the all bearing surface with the force fed with the lubricating oil with the removable split drive gear with the mount of the generator end with the shaft, the drive shaft with the camshaft through the gears of the control overspeed governor with the pump drive gear with the mount with the free end with the crankshaft and the torsional and slave with the crankshaft and throw with the idle gears drive with the lube oil pump and water pump. Diesel engines description and specification: traction generator armature directly both of the crankshaft flange bearings, replaceable precision fit main connection rod bearings are used with a heavy steel backs and are lined with a copper lid oil alloy with the crankshaft thrust bearing with the locomotive number 8 main bearing with the crankshaft with a rotate with the replacement split sleeve with the aluminum bearings vapor dampers. The steel vicious type of the damper is mounted on the free end of the crankshaft. The unit of the dampens within control of the crankshaft torsional vibration camshaft. Two sectional camshafts, high alloy steel are used with the operator of the engine valve and fuel pump. The shaft are mounted with the engine from the engine speed and the directly gear driven with the crankshaft with 1/2 of the crankshaft speed. These sectional camshaft is made with 9 individual precision machine sections connected together with the stud and bolts and nuts. Connection rods. Each connection rod consists of the master connection rod, articulated connection rod. These rods are made with the forged alloy steel with the articulated rod bolt and rod to a pin fitted with the master connection rod. The master connection rod is fastened around with the crankshaft by a bolted on cap that is in it and provided with the maximum bearing surface of the piston. One piece of the piston with a special cast iron giving them the ductile need for the longest life of each. Piston is equipped with the forward compression ring for the two oil rings. The piston ring may be inspected with the new ring for the installed with the removal of the cylinder without disconnection from the piston with the lower piston air with the tin plate with the aid of the rapid piston brake with the prevent from scruffing with the wood with cover for the cylinder damage the piston lubricated with the cooled oil with the oil force for the holes drilled within the connection iron articulated rod with the piston pins and cavity under the piston crown. Now we're going to go back to this one and we're going to turn it right side up. And we're going to back out to zoom to page level. Alright, as you see, the fuel is in red, the intake air is green, and the exhaust is green. Sorry, the exhaust is orange. And then we have, yeah. So this is General Engine FTL diesel engine. And then I'm going to turn it back, and we're going to look at the next picture. Alright, diesel engine description specification, figure 3.3, oblique view of the free end, oblique view of the generator end, and we'll continue with cylinders. Cylinder jacket casting, the special ductile casting, casting a special ductile cast iron with the removal of the cast steel cylinder head bolted with the plate of the jacket of the steel intake of the exhaust valve with the seats for the integral part of the cylinder head. Valves are arranged in two intake valve, the outboard and exhaust valves toward the center of the engine of the V. This design allows for the indirectional gas flow to provide with the optimum engine breathing with the result of the lower exhaust temperature with the longer engine life with the fuel pump with the injection valve with the valve rocker arms, the allied valve with the equipment located with the upper portion of the cylinder jacket casting. Cylinder jacket is bolted with the engine frame with the bolting lugs located at the bottom of the jacket. Cylinder liners renewable water coil with the central figure casting iron cylinder liners and provided with a linear wear surface of the plan with the chrome to give it the longer life of the upper end of the liner and C with the two gasket liners were printed off with the cylinder jacket for the interface of the fit with the screw with the plate and the plate is bolted with the clamp ring. Fuel injection pump. The fuel injection pump of the pump impulse with the jerk with the types of fuel injection pump that is mounted with the top of the end cylinder head of the operator throughout the push rod with the camshaft and adjustable tap it located with the below of the pump of the push rod provided with the adjustment with the pump time with the pump the increase the fuel pressure for the injection accurately measured with the quantity of the being injected to deliver the fuel pump at the proper time with the fuel nozzle. Your fuel nozzle with the injection nozzle mounted with the end center of each of the cylinder connected with the fuel injection pump with a short high pressure line with the fuel is forced with a tiny hole with the nozzle tip with the automatic with the fuel and the fire refinement made with the symmetrical pattern with the proper combustion. The injection nozzle is made with the several easily replaceable components. Engine control government. The engine is equipped with electro-hydraulic spade government regulating government which is equipped with a small antenna internally mounted with the load control rheostat with the governor is mounted with the top of the engine the mainframe with the generator and is given the driven with the right camshaft gear with the governor maintains the desired engine speed at the load, all loads by the regulating the fuel rack trap with the fuel pump. The governor has its own oil supply with its own pump, that supply with the pressure needed to regulate the governing operation. Turbocharger, the single turbocharger mounted at the top of the mainframe with the free end with the driven with the engine exhaust with the gases to provide with the air approximately twice the atmosphere pressure for the cylinder. The turbocharger is water cooled with lubricated with the oil from the engine pressurized system. Intercooler, the small engine equipped with the two intercoolers within the small enclosed with the radiator mounted with each end of each side of the engine with the connected between the turbocharger and each end of the intake manifold part of the cooling system. Water flow for the intercoolers compressed with the air for the water and turbocharger flow with the blows that cross with the radiator core for the water absorb the heat of the air with air which allow the cool air to develop into the cylinders. Manifold. The air intake manifolds are mounted with the outside each of the bank of the cylinder sectional construction with the easy with the alignment and for the wick engine maintenance of the exhaust manifold mounted with the V of the engine stainless steel with the gasket flange connection with each of the cylinder with the turbocharger large exhaust pipe with the section slip joint with the seal with the levels of the appropriate intervals compensated with thermal expansion with the varying engine loads. Air system. Incoming engine with the air first pass through the dry type. The primary air cleaner. The cleaner contained with the multiple special tube with the act with the miniature cylinder cylindrical dirt separated before then. 95% of the airborne dirt was removed by the air cleaner discharged through the tubing with a turbocharged exhaust stack. Clean air then passes through the panel type of the oil bath air filters additional to filtration before it enters the turbocharger. Cooling water system, the air circulated through the system by an engine water mounted with water pump at the pump that's mounted to the free end of the cover of the gear, driven with the crankshaft, the cool warning force through the engine with the turbocharger oil coolers, intercoolers to carry engine heat away. Hot water is flowed for the control of the control of outflow with the directs water from the roof mounted radiators where the water is cooled with the forced air for the given driven with the radiator fan. Your fuel system is fuel is pumped through the system externally mounted with electronic motor driven with the fuel booster pump. The pump transfer fuel with locomotive fuel tank through the filter for each of the fuel injection pump. Each of the fuel return with the tank through the pressurized regulating valve with the relief valve with the installed near the pump to protect the system against excessive pressure. Lubricating system. The lubricating oil system is looped through the engine with a single gear drip with the lube oil with the mount with the free end with the cover with the relief valve with the installed with the protect type. The direct attack of the system against excessive pressure from the external mount with the water with the cold, the oil cooler, with the system, the cooling, remove the heat from the oil picture with the cooling with the piston, other engine parts. Lubricating oil filters, a full flow strainer externally mounted with the filter with the installed with the lubricating with the oil filters into the filter out of abrasive form material matter. Safety device, the engine equipped with the overspeed governor within shut the engine down with the engine speed exceed with the predetermined safe value. The governor is mounted behind the governor drive gearbox located with the governor generator end. The gear is driven with the camshaft gear when the governor trip closed with the butterfly valve located with the air intake mount with the holes shutting off the air to the engine. Also, the engine control by the governor is to shut off the fuel. Supported through the cylinder manually at reset button provide with the reset with the governor after the overspeed trip of the overspeed with the governor is in fail safe with the failure with the overspeed with the mechanism automatically shut down engine speed. Engine down. Two independent safety devices, one to detect the lower engine oil pressure and then one to detect low water pressure. They are built with a speed regulating government devices provided protection with either condition throughout the entire speed range. Should the lube oil, the water pressure drop below the established safety valve of the engine automatically shuts down manually reset button to provide with the reset device after that has been actuated. Indicating lights are provided with the inform operator with the condition that has a cause of the engine to be shut down. Alarm bell with the red indicating light or provided with the inform the operator with the engine water temperature exceeds safe value. Crankshaft. The engine crankshaft is directly connected with the DC, the traction engine generator armature with the generators electrically energized from the batteries through its start field with the generator acts with the motor to rotate the crankshaft, the starting engine on the engine equipped with the alternator AC. Two electrical starting motors with the energized by the batteries turn out the engine crankshaft through the gear ring mounted on the alternator to start the engine. The description: the engine lubricating oil system provided with the pressure fuel lubrication for the bearing of the engine for the carrier of the wave of the heat of the produced with the friction combustion. Lubricating oil system consists of the following components in the order of the oil flow: engine crankcase pump with the relief valve with the filter, bypass valve with the cooler, regulating valve with the strainer, engine supply system. Oil bolted with the mainframe is enclosed with the bottom of the crankcase hole of the oil supply with the two oil openings on each side of the end of the crankshafts are sealed with an expandable plug with the two dipsticks on each side of the engine used to measure for the crankcase oil level. Oil from the crankcase is drawn over the end inverted with trapped into the suction side with the gear type lube oil pump. Oil flow inside the engine. Oil discharged with the pump with the pipe and Lube oil filter with the pressure relief valve to protect the system against the excessive pressure of the oil flow for the filter, then to the lower end of the cooler with the water flowing through the tubes inside of the cooler, remove the heat from the oil. With the oil discharged with the top of the cooler's pipe with the engine free end, although through the strainer mounted in the cover. Oil pressure regulating valve that also mounted with the cover of the strainer inlet with the cover of the control of the engine oil header with the pressure discharge of the excess of the oil to the crankcase. Alright, oil flow outside of the engine. The main engine supply header with the branch passives with them in the mainframe conduct the all-oil main bearings to four of them, the camshaft bearings numbered 1 and 9 bearings in each bank of the oil center with the crankshaft with the main bearing of the flow for the angularity drilled with the passage in the shaft of the crankpan bearing. The oil passes through the crankpan with the articulation with the lubricate with the articulation pin with the passage through the drill passage with the main and articulated rod lubricating a piston pump with the oil passes through the piston with the shaking around with the camber under the piston cone. It cools the whole piston in the head with the flow for the out through the orifice back to the cylinder, oil entering through the four camshaft with the bearings and conduct with the lengthwise through the drilled camshaft, the hole drilled readily into the shaft supply of the oil to each of the other shaft bearings. The camshaft bearings contain an angular groove with a connection with the drilled passage with the engine mainframe with the oil flow through these passes with the valve and the fuel push for the ride crossheads. Oil also flows Upward through the valve push rod to supply lubrication working the valve parts at the top of the cylinder will turn through the valve, then push rod calculate for the lubricating cam roller through then to the crankcase. The creek cover bearing and an idle gear bushing of the lubricated through the patch of the oil header into the angular groove around through the covering bearing, and another drill patch connect the angular bearing groove to the drill patch of the idler gear shaft of the auxiliary drive gear lubricated on the crankshaft near the vibration damp with the lubricated internally with the oil flow through the patches within the shaft through the gear hub, and the oil from the bearings returned to the gravity by gravity to the crankcase. Turbocharger bearing receiving the lubricating through the external line with the flange connected with the oil header with the free end with the cover from the turbocharger oil is returned to the crankcase through the pipe. The also flange connect with the cover of the lubricating oil pipe with the governor drive assembly to the low oil pressure shutdown device located on the engine control of the governor of the pipe with the flange for the connect with the engine oil header for the generated and the oil from the generated drive gear for the case returned to the crankcase internally. The oil supply for the overspeed governor maintained with a small reserve built in with the oil governor drive of the gear case. The reservoir is kept filled with oil by an oil patch in the gear case for the camshaft gear for the splash lubricated through an orifice of the pipe of the engine oil header. Lubricating drive gears from the oil and water pump, the lubricated with the running partially submerged in the lube oil contained with the free and covered reserve. Lubricating oil pressure. Oil pressure must be maintained at all times during the engine operation. Insufficient no oil pressure will cover the extensive damage of the bearings, pistons, cylinders, and other moving parts of the engine. Low lube oil pressure device will stop the engine. Turn on all yellow indicating light with the operator's cab if the condition insufficient oil pressure exists. Alright, when the engine is operating with the normal temperature range of the oil header pressure with the approximately noted as on the data sheet, during the engine starting timely delay built with the low oil pressure shutdown device allowed to do the time of the engine oil pressure to build up. If the pressure fails to build up within the time allowed, the lube oil pressure device will trip and prevent the engine from starting. Lubricating oil services, section figure 7, figure 4.7, filling. To serve the lubricating oil system, proceed with the valve, check the drain valves A, B, and C if they're closed, fill the crankcase, and either through the crankcase over the door or through one of the fill pipes within the correct quantity with the new lubricating oil. The oil must be conformed to the required specification filled to the full level of the mark on the dipstick. When the engine idling of the oil level must be between the full and low marks on the dipstick. Draining. The lubricating oil system is drained by the use of the three valves which are identified in valve A, valve B, and valve C with the following list of identified the valve with the combination of the valves which must be opened to drain the various portions of the system. 1. Valve A with the crankcase drain valve that is open to drain the main oil supply with the engine crankcase. 2. The valve B with the end cover the drain valve that drains the oil from the filter oil cooler overboard. Valve C with the filter drain back valve with the drain for the oil filter and oil cooler back to the crankcase. In figure 4, valve B and C both open with the oil filter and the oil cooler from end of the drain overboard. Changing the oil. 1. With the engine stop, remove the pipe with the cap from the drain pipe. The pipe extend below the platform over the fuel tank with the right side of the engine. 2. The arranged barrel with the drain hose system to catch the used oil. Figure 4.1 shows the lube oil fill pipe and the lube oil level dipstick. 3. Open the crankcase drain valve A and cover drain valve and filter drain valve. Remove the vent plug with the filter. Clean the stream. Remove the stream. Cover the element. Remove the element and the cover of the electrical element. Clean the element. Use a suitable clean for low pressure steam with the below the element drive with the compressor air with the inspect with the strain screen with the be sure that there are no holes and cracks with the permanent deformed material for the pass through. Then renew all the gaskets. Reassemble the strain and tighten with the cover of the nuts evenly. Caution uneven and extreme tightening over the cover of the nuts may cover the cover to the brake. 6. Renewing the filter element. To renew the filter elements, proceed as valve and remove the oil filter vent plug with draining the filter and replace the filter tightly through the filter drain. May be expedited by applying the air pressure over 50 psi with the filter vent and observe the applicable safety precautions. 8. Drain the filter by opening valve C with remove the filter vent plug and the oil level of the filter will drop by the gravity level into the crankcase. B. Loosen the filter cover clamp to open the hinge cover over the oil has been drained with the filter cap. Remove the wing nut for the element. Hold it down. Plates. Remove the used element. Place them in the suitable containers to catch the dippings. Clean all any sludge deposit with the filter shell. Install the new filter element. See the renewal parts catalog for the correct replacement parts. Note: do not use the cotton waste filters. 7. Install element. Hold down plate with the wing nuts and tighten nuts evenly. Hand tighten only. Be sure the filter elements are seated and clamped securely. Inspect the filter. Cover the gasket for the possible damage and replace it. And after they're closed, the filter cover them. Tighten with the clamps, bolts evenly. 9. Replace and tighten the vent plug. Relief in the regulating valve of the pressure flow within the Lube Oil system with the automatically control of the 2 pressure operating valve of the 1, the pump, the relief valve of the 2, the engine pressure regulating valve when used, and the valves held with enclosed adjusting spring with the pressure. With the sufficient oil pressure develops, it will overcome the spring pressure causing the valve to open and pass the oil. Alright, the functioning of each of the 2 valves of the system should be thoroughly understood before any of the type of the maybe the train, but normally these valves do not get out of the adjustments, however they may be fail to function properly due to the leakage caused by the dirt holding the valve off the seat with a certain dirt wedge around the valve stem with causing erratic valve operation, the disassembling of the valve from the cleaning of the valve, the mark of the adjustment so that they may be returned to the correct setting without removal from the system. The pump relief valve located near the outlet of the lube oil pump to protect the system against excessive oil pressure with the med valve. Should the system become restricted, but the filters become the dirty, but the pump of the discharge proceeds and pressure for the exceed with the valve operating pressure for the valve and the force open the permitting of the oil for the flow for the free end with the cover the limiting pressure. The oil pump of the relief valve can be reset with removing it from the locomotive adjusting the testing sand with similar to the one with the illustrated in figure 4.2 with the instruction setting of the valve as follows. Figure 4.2 shows the testing arrangement for the adjustment, show the test valve of the gauge, and then to the A and safety valve with the set at 150 psi oil in the water pump of the motor. 1. Start the pump when the A opens. Close the A unit until the pressure is reached. 3. Adjust the valve of the oil. Start with the flow of the pump with the flow of 20 gallons per minute. The less of the valve can be set within the A close. Completely necessary to set the valve of the locomotive. It can be done with the clean filters, cold oil, 100 degrees Fahrenheit or less. To start the engine at idle, set the valve with the proper pressure for the dash section. Pressure regulating valve. The main lube of the oil header pressure regulating valve is self-contained with a device located within the inside of the left bank of the camshaft of the accessing opening. The free end of the cover of the valve above the valve body is sealed with the end of the cover of the oil pass through the O-rings and held with the place by the bolts. Assessing the pressure adjusting screw is obtained by removing the cap. The figure 4 through the valve that maintains the relatively constant engine oil with the head pressure, although through the volume of the oil flowing through the system continues to change with the result of the engine speed with the change. Oil pressure from the engine head is applied with the inner end of the valve regulating piston opposition of the spring force. Therefore, the engine oil header with the pressure tend to drop due to the plugging of the strainer. Spring forces become more effective than through the rising of the pressure setting of the valve to compensate for the increased pressure drop across the strainer. Adjustment. The regulating valve may be adjusted with valves. 1. Make sure the training element is clean, then warm the engine with the normal operating temperature. Alright, this shows figure 4.3 shows lube oil pressure regulating valve. 1 is the cap, 2 is the adjusting screw, 3 is the piston regulating piston spring, 4 is your regulating piston, 5 is your valve O-ring, 6 is the 6 is the valve body, 7 is the O-ring, and 8 is the oil pressure connection with the engine lube oil pressure. To remove the bolt cover over the head valve of the operating the engine over the throttle notch, loosen the lock of the nuts under the adjusting screw with the in or out to set with the 75 psi gallon of the psi gauge for the cab gauge. All sufficient time with the pressure reading of the stabilizer between this adjacent adjustment. The turning of the adjustment screw will raise the pressure. 3 tighten the lock nut securely when replacing the cap. Lube oil filter. See figure 4.4. The lube oil filter fabricated with a cylinder steel sheet with a hinge and gasket over the which is clamped. Lube oil filter. 1. Cover the clamp bolt. 1. 2. The oil ring. 3. The filter element. 4. The oil outlet cooler. 5. The pipe plug. 6. Oil inlet pump. 7. Baffle. 8. Hold down plates. 9. Hold down plate wing nut. And also 10. Your vent plug. 12. The maximum system pressure of the filter shelf with the supported with the fabricated steel frame with the part of the filter. Assembly internally of the filter arranged with the 2 separate cavities of oil flowing through the filter shell pad for the inwardly through the elements located in the upper cavity downward through the element center within the lower cavity the other outlet pipe. Alright, lubricating oil system, lube oil cooler. Lube oil cooler fabricated steel shell contain the vertical water tube. See figure 4.5. Also figure 4.5 shows the 1 is the shell, 2 is the tube bundle, 3 is the bonnet, 4 is the stud, 5 is the hex nut, 6 is the lock washer, 7 is the packing ring, 8 is the glad ring, 9 is the gasket, 10 is the shim, 11 is the space, and 12 is the hex bolt. Alright, lubricating oil system. The cooler is mounted with the vertical position with the top flange bolt directly with the underside of the water with the storage tank of the water with the tank flow with the downward through the tube with the bottom head with which connects with the suction side of the water pump with the oil flame with the filter end with the bottom with the cooler flows upward around the tube with the oil outlet with the connected with the engine free with the cover the internal baffle the direct oil flow with the across the tube to produce the maximum cooling. Tubes are secured with the end with the sheet with the expansion rolling over the upper tube shaft with the clamp with the seal between the upper cooler flange and water tank with the low tube sheet with the free with the move with vertically on the shell of the compensator with the thermal expansion seal consisting of the two packing ring with the packing ring of the space located with the low red flame that prevents leakage with the between the oil water section allowed with the movement of the tube sheet with the lower end with the compression with the rubber packing ring with the control with the spacing, the adjusting the shim, the clamping the bolts. See figure 4 or 5. The packing ring space has several weep holes for the drill with the oil through it. The failure to other packing the ring will be indicated with the oil water leakage of the flange. For this will prevent leakage for the oil water and vice versa. See figure 4 or 5 in large view A. Lube oil strainer. Lube oil strainer is built with a free end of the cover of the engine shown in figure 4 or 6 with the 5 O-rings that seal the air between the strainer housing and the free end of the cover labeled with the A through E with the figure 4 or 6 with the hole preventing with the atmosphere located between the O-rings as A and B prevents the oil passage or prevents oil from bypassing the strainer through the oil rings developing the leak with the leakage path is either zero ring with either O-ring will be indicated with the oil seep from the hole with this. This hole is externally located at the free end with the cover to the right of the engine time pointer. There will be no external indication leak path for the O-ring of the C with the leakage being suspected with the lube oil. Pressure drops being low. Normal other parts of the system is good condition. Leakage past the O-ring with D and E, but will be notified of oil outside of the free end with the cover below the strainer. Alright, lube oil strainer show the strainer and then your A, B, C, and D oil outlets, oil, and then free end cover and the letters. Can't read that, but. Alright, your housing, remove the strainer housing, take out the 3 5 1/8 by 11 bolts around with the strainer flange for the strainer made to then jack and insert the 3 5 1/8 of an inch by 11 2 inches of the head, then tap jacking hole for the mounting flange for the turning on the bolts evenly until the strainer comes free. Housing installation. Before reinstalling the strainer for the O-ring groove of the exterior that should be cleaned with the new O-rings should be installed with the inspect with the cleaning surface with the free end of the cover and lubricating O-rings when the inserting the strainer with the free end of the cover. Make sure that these small O-rings E within the round groove with the strainer flange black with the drain valve with the necessary external with the long 5/8 of an inch 11 bolts may be used temporarily with mounting flange to assist with pulling the strainer into the seat. Oil capacity of 385 gallons. Pressure relief valve set with a Lube oil cold 150 psi. Header pressure regulating valve when used 75 psi. Engine header pressure normal. Operating temperature governor supply line. Engine idle approximately 20 psi. Engine full speed 75 psi. And your torque values. Lube oil pressure drive gear not 375 to 400 pounds a foot. Alright, this shows the lubricating oil system, overspeed governor, water line, the cast-in header from the main oil header for the supply with the governor drive gearbox, cap, gear gauge line, drain line with the overspeed governor supply line with the butterfly actuator, pump suction line, oil dipstick filling lines, pressure relief valve, and testing pump for the strainer, the cooler filter, and the vent. Alright, section 5, we're going to cut the tape here.